Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei, because today we're going to be looking at something very interesting. What if Minecraft events could trade their games similar to how in sports, teams can trade their players? You see this in football, you see this in basketball, you see this across different types of sports. And we, on stream, decided to look at this as a hypothetical situation, of course, to see what events could look like if they maybe traded some of their assets. Maybe they could improve. Generally, the consensus was from the stream while we're doing this. We did this on Twitch, by the way. If you want to be there for one time, you can tune in for the Twitch. I'll come back to this tab in a little bit. But we did this throughout 2 streams, and the results are interesting. Most people said that it was an improvement for every event. Whether it's a slight improvement or a major improvement, pretty much every event gets something good out of this, which is interesting. It poses the question, what if events actually traded their assets? It's not realistic because events are coded in different code bases. Certain builds are different and everything. It wouldn't really make sense, but hypothetically speaking, it's fun. But before we get into that, first, I want to mention 2 things. First thing is the poll that I asked you guys to fill out yesterday has been very active. Thank you for the 264 people that have responded so far. It was on this video, by the way, the most recent upload before this one. If you want to, you can still put your thoughts out there. One thing that is important is if you already did this yesterday, I accidentally forgot some of the PB games in the PB section because they were not on the wiki. So both Trials of Fire and Voidbound are now in here. If you have strong opinions about either of these games, you are able to edit your response, assuming you use the same Google account. So just a heads up if you really want to give your thoughts and try to make things as accurate as possible. My apologies, of course, for this being an oversight, but you can not redo the thing, but you can edit your response. The link will be in the description. I'll just leave it down here as well, or you can just go to the form on the previous video. Number 2, today, assuming that you watch this video within like probably 3 hours of it being posted, maybe 4, I'm going to be playing in a Bedrock event called WMCT. I don't know if it has a proper name. I made a video about this in the past. I'm going to be live on Twitch playing it. If you want to watch me play in a Bedrock event as kind of a noob because I don't play Bedrock, then go tune in. It'll be interesting, I think, maybe. I'm going in blind, so it'll be a fun experience, hopefully. Anyways, enough yap and intro stuff. Let's get into the business. So, this is unchanged right now. However, I VOD reviewed my own content, and I decided to note down every single trade that stuck. There were some trades we made that we immediately reverted. For example, I think there was a trade for like a PB Dragon Pit speedrun was traded for Rapid Racers, and that was quickly reverted because it didn't really seem like that much of a proper trade. I think, at least, I could be wrong. But we'll go through every single one. I'm going to do it step by step, and the final result is what we ended up with as well. So this will be a fun, not interactive, but live experience, I guess. So to explain for those of you who are not aware, in sports, what happens is, from a business standpoint, and sometimes from a tactical standpoint, some teams will trade away their players for others to maybe fill gaps on their team, or maybe because they can make a profit off of trading a high valuable player for maybe a newer player who has potential to grow, etc. What we're doing here is we are assuming that if a game gets traded, it'll be treated as if the game is part of the event. So for example, if a Mayhem game goes to MCC, we are assuming that MCC takes care of the Mayhem game and tries to add the MCC flair to it, thus probably improving the quality. This also is very relevant throughout this. I'll try to explain if that is the reasoning behind some of these changes, but you'll understand, hopefully. We start off with a very interesting trade. This was the first thing that came to mind, mostly because of one reason. The first 2 teams that trade are MCC and Pandora's Box, and MCC trades To Get Your Side for Voidbound from PB. So To Get Your Side goes over here, Voidbound goes over here. The logic behind this was To Get Your Side has Terra Soup Force, etc., which could be nice for Hyperdrive. It could also be used as a game to cycle in and out with Hyperdrive to make Hyperdrive a bit more manageable, because Hyperdrive is kind of a problem for PB in terms of management. So that's beneficial for PB. MCC does get Voidbound, which is widely considered a pretty bad game, though it is assumed that MCC is able to fix Voidbound. They're able to turn Voidbound into a much better game. That's why that trade was done. Number 2 is kind of a finesse, but maybe not, honestly. MCC and Block Wars trade Railroad Rush for Party. Now, the logic behind this is Block Wars could use another teamwork-based game. Railroad Rush is probably the most accessible one from MCC, and also in terms of MCC's, team games, etc. SOT, they definitely want to hold on to. Grid Earners, I feel like there is a lot of effort that has gone into that. Plus, it is literally a bedrock map from MCC, so that one wouldn't really be let go. And then Bingo wouldn't really be good for Block Wars, and then is that it? Build Mart, which there's already construction in Block Wars' hands, and also Order Up, which is similar. So that's why Block Wars wanted Railroad Rush. MCC gets Party because that type of game mode doesn't exist in MCC. They don't have a mini games type of mini game, right? They don't have a game with many smaller games within it. So it is assumed that MCC could benefit from that, and also with the MCC creativity on top of that, could make a few new games within Party and make it excellent. That is the assumption there. Next up, trade number 3, MCC and Biome Battle. Trade Party, ironically, goes to Biome Battle, and then Oppenslimer goes to MCC. Similar logic here. Biome Battle has the creativity that people in the chat very much entrusted them with to fix, quote unquote, well, not fix, to improve Party at least, and also, again, a type of game mode Biome Battle doesn't really have, so it would help. And then Oppenslimer is very unique for MCC. That type of game mode also doesn't really exist. The closest they have, which is going to be a weird comparison, is like Rocket Spleef in the sense of custom PvP-ish, but not really PvP game, kind of miscellaneous, whatever, right? So that's why they could maybe want Oppenslimer. Next up is a triple trade from Biome Battle, Minecraft Mayhem, and Block Wars, where they're trading away some of the PvP games. Biome Battle trades away Arena, which is this one, to Block Wars, and then what's the next one? Minecraft Mayhem then trades away Guardians of the Chamber to Biome Battle, and then in turn, Block Wars gives away Battle, I think. Yes, Battle goes to Minecraft Mayhem, which is quite an interesting trade. Battle gets put in an environment where it might work a little bit better. Arena is similar to Battle, but it's maybe slightly more accessible, so that's slightly beneficial for Block Wars there. And Biome Battle gains Guardians of the Chamber, which is a type of game mode that I do think would be nice for them to have, so that's an interesting trade. Next up, trade number 5, Biome Battle and MCC trade Task Tag, which is this one. Task Tag goes to MCC, but in turn, Biome Battle gets Bingo but fast. Bingo is not a type of game mode that Biome Battle has. It is assumed that with the seasonal mechanics, etc., a Bingo type of game mode could be really interesting for them potentially. And I think Bingo but fast, having the custom objectives, etc., could also create a lot of creative options for Biome Battle to work with, especially because Biome Battle works on a much newer version of the game, or is more so built around the newer version of the game rather than updated to that newer version. Next up is a trade number 6. PB does a double trade here. PB trades both Sky High and Disco Fever away to Biome Battle. So Sky High goes to Biome Battle, and Disco Fever from their backups goes to Biome Battle. And in turn, PB gains Dungeon Dash, which is an interesting trade. I don't remember the exact logic behind this. I'm fairly sure that there was a chat suggestion that led to this decision, because Dungeon Dash is a very fresh game. We haven't really seen Biome Battle do much with Dungeon Dash yet. However, this is also a type of game that PB would really want, and in turn, Biome Battle is getting a Sky PvP game, which they don't have, and then also Disco Fever, which I don't know if it's the best for Biome Battle to have, but it is interesting maybe for the Biome Battle flavor to be added to Disco Fever to maybe improve it. That trade is definitely a bit more on PB's benefit, though, in my opinion, though they do lose Sky High. Next up is a triple trade again, where PB comes into play, but MCC, PB, and Minecraft Mayhem do a triple trade, where MCC trades away survival games to Minecraft Mayhem. Then, what is next? PB trades away PB survival games to MCC, and then in turn, Battle now goes to PB, which I actually think is a very good trade overall. I think PB could do a lot with Battle. I think survival games from PB is a bit more friendly than the MCC one. especially considering some of the feedback we've heard from MCC players comparing the two. It is generally agreed upon that the PBSG is better than MCCSG, with maybe the exception from survival points, but we know how MCC would treat that. And yeah, SG going to, or MCC SG going to Mayhem. I think Mayhem would just be happy to have an MCC game, really, in general. Next up comes an interesting moment. So trade number 8 isn't actually a trade, but Ben, who is one of the devs from Biome Battle, suggests, or not suggests, but the chat suggests Sprint from Biome Battle, which is an unused game now, to just go to Mayhem, and that was approved by Ben. Ben was like, yep, they can have that. So, all right. Turns out that that is an approved trade, so it's just a donation. Biome Battle donates Sprint to Minecraft Mayhem. In turn, MCC sees that as well and just donates Skyblockle to Minecraft Mayhem as well, which is kind of an insane asset that just have. And then here comes an interesting trade. PB and Minecraft Mayhem now trade Sky High, which... can they do that? Oh yeah, Sky High... Wait. What? Who has... No, Sky High... Oh, Sky High is from Biome Battle. My bad. Biome Battle... Wait, something crazy happened here. Oh, it's a triple trade. I wrote this one down. I didn't write this one down correctly. So PB, Biome Battle, and Minecraft Mayhem do a triple trade, where it seems like what is happening. So no, wait, I don't understand what actually is being traded here, because I'm fairly sure that PB ends up with Sky Skirmish, which is either a donation or a trade, or I missed something. I'm fairly sure that Biome Battle just has Skyblockle, and then Sky High goes to Minecraft Mayhem? Is that what I'm seeing? I don't actually know if that is correct. We'll see at the end. I think that's the trade that happened, though. We'll see if that is completely correct. Regardless, moving on to trade number 11, MCC and Block Wars trade Hole in the Wall. So Hole in the Wall goes to Block Wars, and then in turn Overspleef goes to MCC, with the assumption that Hole in the Wall has kind of lived its life in MCC and could maybe get a new, fresh look in Block Wars, more so that a different audience is seeing and playing it. And also it could maybe be a bit more friendly to that type of player base. And then also MCC gains Overspleef, where as much as they have Rocket Spleef Rush, Spleef in regular Spleef is kind of not a thing there, right? Which doesn't have to be. But the different round format that Overspleef offers would be interesting for MCC to maybe adapt. Maybe they could do something creative with it. Next up, trade number 12 is another donation. MCC, as much as they acquired Voidbound, they're just like, nope, Mayhem can have it. So Voidbound goes to Minecraft Mayhem, which is quite an interesting trade for sure. And then trade number 13 is a huge trade. I just noticed this. Actually, Voidbound is a decoy, because that generosity from Voidbound being just donated to Mayhem has led to a 3-for-1 trade between MCC and Minecraft Mayhem. MCC offers up Build Mart, it offers up Parkour Tag, and it also offers up OG Rocket Spleef, which this is big. But in turn, MCC gains Factory Frenzy, which is a huge, huge deal. Factory Frenzy is one of the most missed games, I think, in Minecraft events, because Mayhem has been on break for such a long time. This is widely considered the best Mayhem game, and MCC just did essentially a 4-for-1 deal, where this just became a trade. And honestly, as much as, yes, Mayhem does lose one of its best games, the fact that Mayhem now has 4 MCC games is quite notable. I do think that is kind of a win. Especially OG Rocket Spleef is a crazy, crazy pull. Parkour Tag has value. Build Mart has value. I think there's a lot to be said about that trade. I think that honestly is not bad. Only 2 trades remain, though. I will have to check in a little bit if what I've done here is correct. But trade number 14 is another 2-for-1 trade. Somehow. No, it's not. It's just a 1-for-1 trade. Never mind. I didn't read this correctly. But MCC offers up OG Build Mart, which they're not using, to PB. And then in turn, MCC gains Dragon Pit Speedrun, with the logic that the custom mechanics and stuff that was in Dragon Pit Speedrun would be potentially used in Ace Race, which is an actually very interesting suggestion. I do think that would make sense. OG Build Mart, PB doesn't have a building game. They could use it or not, but they offered up an asset they're not using, and MCC offered up an asset they're not using, and both events could maybe benefit from having that asset just for funsies. So interesting. I do think that technically this would be an extras here because only the map would be used, but even then, just swapping them in and out could be interesting. And then finally, an interesting trade, which does showcase that some of this is accurate because Block Wars trades Sky Zone to PB, and PB trades Sky Skirmish to Block Wars, which is interesting. So let me actually check if this is a correct result, because this is the actual one that we had. It's just mostly looking at the bottom. So Sky High is supposed to be in Mayhem category. That is correct. Then, yes, this is correct as well. I seem to have missed a trade somewhere. I don't know what I've missed. Let me just very quickly analyze what I've got going on here, because apparently I missed a lot from the VODs here. So this should be here. Then Block Wars ends up getting, what the hell? Hold on. I'm analyzing this real quick. Block Wars ends up getting Disco Fever. Oh, okay. So there's one last trade that I just didn't write down. Disco Fever goes from Biome Battle to Block Wars, and in turn, Block Wars donates Move, which is also an unused asset. Move goes to Biome Battle, which is actually a pretty big deal because Biome Battle doesn't really have a movement game like that right now. So that is an interesting trade. So this is the result of the grand event trade that took place on the twitch.tv/Wolfeei account, with chat being involved as well. So let me quickly write down Block Wars and Biome Battle trade, what's it called? Move and Disco Fever. That is the result. So let's recap. MCC lets go of Railroad Rush, Hole in the Wall, To Get to Their Side, Bingo But Fast, Survival Games, Build Mart, and Parkour Tag from just its main pool, which is the most relevant thing to look at. But in turn, they gain Oppenslimer, they gain Task Tag, they gain PB Survival Games, they gain Overspleef, they gain Factory Frenzy, which is I think the biggest deal here, and they gain Speedrun from PB Dragon Pit. That does mean that I think MCC's total game pool reduces by about 2, which isn't great, but they do have a lot of assets to work with. I guess they now have new assets to play around with, and also I think this could help freshen up some of the MCC gameplay, which would be an interesting thing for sure. Block Wars, in turn, offered up Overspleef. It offered up Battle, and that's it from its... Oh, and Party. So Party, Overspleef, and Battle have been offered up from its main pool. And in turn, it has gained 5 games, somehow. Railroad Rush, Arena, Hole in the Wall, Sky Skirmish, and Disco Fever. I think the main assets here that are important are Railroad Rush, Hole in the Wall, and potentially Arena. I think these could be usable. Sky Skirmish and Disco, I think, would mostly be on the back end, maybe to be used every now and then. But it does pose the question that maybe some more assets could have been traded here and there, or maybe some assets could be traded back as an offer, because it does seem like MCC does kind of go out of this with less games, but quite a lot of value that they have gained still. PB, in turn, has traded away Survival Games. It has traded away, well, Disco's already gone, so that doesn't really count. Traded away Survival Games, Sky High, and Voidbound. That's it, yes. And in turn, they have acquired, To Get to Your Side, Dungeon Dash, Battle, OG Build Mart, and Sky Zone, which is interesting. That is very interesting. Some things where I'm like, okay, that's very good, and some things where I'm like, we'll see what they would do with that, hypothetically. Biome Battle is also a very interesting situation here. Biome Battle trades away Oppenslimer, it trades away Task Tag, it trades away Arena, it trades away Dungeon Dash, and it trades away Sprint, but in turn it gains Party, Guardians of the Chamber, Bingo But Fast, Skyblockle, and Move, which, if I'm being completely honest, does seem like Biome Battle kind of gets scammed a little bit. However, I think the assumption was made that the Biome Battle has the ability to make a lot of these games shine a lot brighter than they currently do, or did in the past, and maybe that would achieve a new high of these games and make Biome Battle look even better. And then Mayhem finally loses Factory Frenzy, it loses Sky Skirmish, and it loses Guardians of the Chamber. 3 games. In turn, it gets Survival Games, Sprint, Sky High, Voidbound, Build Mart, Parkour Tag, and OG Rocket Sleeve, which means their game roster is almost doubled, which is insane. Either way, let me know your thoughts on a hypothetical trade situation with Minecraft events. Let me know your thoughts on these trades. Don't just point at me, all right? This is a joint effort of me and Twitch chat. Let me know which trades you think would make a lot of sense. There was a lot of suggestions in the chat that were absolutely out of nowhere. The ones that I didn't think made sense at all, but maybe you'll have something that is interesting, or maybe not. For example, some people said, trade Blitz Hunt. No. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.